Hi all. I thought I'd just look at one of my own games today against a strong 2038 Blitz player on Lichess. So this game was played last Friday in the Audi Blitz arena on Lichess. Um, it's not one of my best wins, but I just like to take a look at it because there are uh, many interesting points to bring up in this game, or many interesting opportunities that were missed by both sides. So you can regard this as a particularly interesting game of mine. So I was playing as black, and my opponent opened with c4. I responded with c5. We see knight c3. So this is looking like an English opening from white with this knight c4, with c4, knight c3, and maybe white, and there are many variations associated with the English opening. For example, white can go knight f3, g3, bishop g2 with the intention of fianchettoing the bishop on this diagonal, or even d3, which is like a sort of a Botvinnik system. So I responded with knight c6. So my opponent plays g3. I responded with g6, bishop g2, bishop g7. So this is something called a symmetrical variation of the English opening. So my opponent played rook b1, maybe with the intention of going b4 or a3, b4, etc. So I just continued my development with knight f6. Now we see a3 with the intention of going b4. I castled, and now he plays b4 in this position. So I took the pawn on b4, he recaptures, and now I went e6, and he responded with d3, and now I played knight e7 with the intention of going d5, so sort of trying to strengthen my grip over the centre. In fact, I could have actually played d5 in this position, but it didn't really matter. I delayed d5, so I went knight e7, so with the intention of playing d5. So he went b5, and now I played d5 in this position, attacking white's centre, and he responds with bishop d2. I responded with b6. Now we see queen b3 from white. Now bishop b7, and he actually took on d5 in this position, which is interesting because this might be considered a mistake here, actually, because maybe he could have played something like, I don't know, knight f3 in this position. Although I suppose it is an option to take on d5, I guess. But what it does do, it does actually give me access to this c file. So I recaptured with a knight, and he plays knight f3. So I responded with rook c8. So now I have excellent control of this c file, and the engine actually gives a slight advantage to black. Actually, in fact, it has been giving a slight advantage to black right out of the opening. So white plays rook c1. So I played queen d7, connecting the rooks. White castles, and now I played knight c7. So threatening to take on b5 now. Although I could have actually maybe played something like rook d8 or even f5 actually. Might have been another option, or even f6. There are many options for black in this position, but instead I went knight c7, so attacking the pawn on b5. He played rook c2, so I simply took on b5, simply grabbed the pawn on b5, and we immediately see a queen trade. And now he doubles up on the c-file, so I responded with rook d8. And now in this position, black has a pretty big advantage according to the engine. It's minus 1.63. So clearly, black has a clear edge in this position. So I went rook d8. Now we see knight e1 from white. So here we immediately see an exchange of light square bishops. And now I played knight d4. So white is now losing the exchange here, and the engine now gives a serious advantage to black. It's minus 3.24. So he responded with rook c4, which is basically the only move. So I took on e2, and now white is down the exchange. I went rook d3 here. So I took the pawn on d3. Now I'm threatening to take the bishop. So you went bishop e3, and I simply doubled up on the d-file. So we see king e2. So I just played the rook back to d7. Now I think, and actually now black has a serious advantage in this position. It's minus 5.29 to black. So clearly white is in a practically losing position by this point in the game. So my opponent played knight f4, and so I played bishop d4, sort of looking for an exchange of dark square bishops. I could have actually maybe played something like, well, b5 I suppose was another option, but obviously bishop d4 is just as good, if not better. So, and now he played rook c7. So I simply played the rook back. I think we were both getting pretty short of time here actually. But anyway, so I played a5 here. So he responded with rook c6. And in fact, maybe I could have gone rook d2 here. Or even e5 was possible.